Officially, hello to everyone, and welcome to the Freshman Getting In series, where we explore successful admissions cases and tools, strategies that make them such. Today, we're hosting the episode 3 of the 2025-2026 cycle with Madina Abdurashidova, who just recently got into University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business. Um, Unlike many applications to schools like Wharton, featuring traditional business achievements, Madina's was built on authentic community impact and cultural bridge building. From organizing writing workshops in rural schools to leading plastic pollution awareness campaigns, she discovered that effective leadership is rooted in meeting actual community challenges. She serves on her school district's superintendent student advisory committee and works as a diversity, equity, and inclusion community ambassador. As a board member of the Seattle Tashkent Sister City Association, Madina cultivates cultural exchange between the United States and Uzbekistan by preparing immigrant children for Independence Day celebrations, performing traditional dances, and organizing events that celebrate heritage while building community connection. Today at the event, we're going to learn more about Madina's story and her unique path towards securing successful admission to the University of Pennsylvania. Hi, Madina. Let's start with where you started from, right? With where you're coming
Mhm.
from. Right now,
Yeah.
you're in the United States, but you weren't there always. You're relocated there, right? And you're
Mm,
originally from where?
Uzbekistan.
From Uzbekistan. So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit more about um, when you were in Uzbekistan, right? What prompted you considering to start considering applying to the US institutions, right? Like, because in our pre-call, I heard that you told that you started working on your ECS way earlier than, many people do. So how was that?
hmm hmm Okay. So let me kind of reintroduce myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Madina, and I'm from Uzbekistan. I grew up there. I lived there most of my life, and only in the summer of 2024, I moved to the United States, and currently I reside in Washington State. Um, To answer your question, how I started intentionally building my application profile, I think it links back to my sister who Gunoza, who is due class of 29. Um, she was my role model. She's a little older than me, so I kind of saw that she's doing a lot of projects and events, doing like taking SATs and IELTS,
Mhm.
and she became my role model, and I started doing the same step by step, little by little.
Okay. So what was the first activity or project that she inspired you to start building towards?
Mm, I think this activity was kind of inspired by my mom, but I
Mhm.
started doing my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Um, yeah, if you guys look over, you can see my accent. But I started doing my YouTube channel when I went to for a travel in Turkey, and I just wanted to show my friends what I see here in Turkey. I just wanted to speak with local people in Turkish and interview them. And I started recording it just kind of almost randomly, but it helped me to kind of step out of my comfort zone to approach strangers and just make simple and very wholesome conversations with them.
Mhm.
And when I came back from Turkey, I wanted to continue my YouTube channel, but this time I wanted to show Uzbek traditions and culture in English by doing vlogs.
Mhm.
And I started organizing special events where I invite women from different regions and they represent their ikat, like atlas, adras, and together we make traditional food. And I'm the filmmaker. I record the whole process, and after editing everything, I upload it to my YouTube channel. And I
Mhm.
started receiving very wholesome comments saying like, "Oh, Madina, thank you so much. Like, it's helping me to learn about Uzbekistan. I want to go to Uzbekistan. Hello from India." So that was very motivational for me, and I started
Mhm.
improving and developing my YouTube channel. Even now, if you look over, it doesn't have like millions of subscribers, but it I think it's very niche because, first of all, I'm talking about my traditions and culture in English, and I think it's not very common in Uzbekistan. And second of all, it was just very meaningful for me.
Yeah. Just as all the other parts of your application. I think one of the, standout features of Madina's application is that she has a lot of activities that she was very, 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 and still is passionate about, right? But that are not at all standard, right? Like if before exploring any application, like admissions cases, right? These are not the activities that you would naturally think of someone having who got into maybe Ivy League, right? And that's what's most surprising, right? Because Medina's path shows that authenticity wins, right? And you just have to find what it truly has meaning for you. Okay, so let me replay what you've just said about the YouTube channel. You started quite spontaneously,
Yeah.
inspired by Gulnoza and also your mother's idea, right? Uh,
Hmm.
Basically filming traveling vlogs while you were in Turkey. And then
Yeah.
it grew more into a culturally educational channel, right? Where you shared
Yeah.
Uzbek culture with the world and you were creating, like you were translating your own vision and understanding of your culture and showing it to the world. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, so that was the first activity that you started building, right? Towards getting, towards US education. Um,
Yeah.
and when exactly was that on a timeline of, the grade system?
Mm. So I went to Turkey in the summer of 2022. So I
Mhm.
think this is when I started.
Okay. Which was, if we speak of, 11-year long Uzbek education system, right? It
Hmm.
was which grade?
Summer. So I was about to start ninth grade.
About to start ninth grade. Okay. Nines, tens, elevens. So 3 more years. Okay, great. So in the summer you were developing YouTube channel. And when did you start working towards your other activities? And
Mm.
how did you come up with them?
Um, Let me actually pull out my list. It's kind
Hard to navigate.
of,
Because
yeah.
there's a lot of things. Yeah, I totally get you.
Um, yeah. 1 second.
Mhm. Take your time.
Should I go over my list that I put in to Questbridge, or
I
should I
think it's a
just
bit too
go?
early to transition to Questbridge. You
Mm-hmm.
better go by the timeline, right? Like what was the
Mm-hmm.
first activity you started developing, then
Yeah.
second, third, fourth, and then we're going to reach a special point where the Questbridge will become relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Audience, hold with us. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the second activity, what was that?
Um, Yeah, and then the same year, I organized. It was a project that I co-founded with my sister. It was called Heal Earth,
Mhm.
and it stands for Healthy Environment Activists League. And basically, this project was related to raising plastic pollution awareness, designing and distributing over 200 eco bags, and organizing community cleanups and planting trees together. And um, like I said in our pre-call, I feel like all of my activities are related to a personal story, and that was like my navigating point. And the reason why I found Heal Earth was because um, I have a little sister, and she was born in 2021. And just after months she was born, Uzbekistan was hit with unexpected dust storm, and that led to a lot of respiratory issues. And a lot of people, and not only my sister as a baby, but also other babies, other elderly people struggled a lot because of that. And that was, I feel like, one of the first indications that Uzbekistan's air quality is getting worse and worse. And that was one of my like Hill Earth was like my way of tackling that problem. Even though it meant a very little impact, I wanted to do something. And that's why I found Hill Earth in 2022 with my sister, and we started organizing community cleanups, distributing eco bags, and going to schools to talk about climate change and plastic pollution.
So, how Heal Earth was brought about was basically by you observing how the current circumstances affect people, how deeply they affect them. And then that was something that you deeply cared about, basically how it affects people, right? And I think
Yeah.
this is like, this is one of the core threads of your application. Like, pretty much every activity how this affects people, right? It's people focused a lot, right? Not hard problem solving in the sense like, MIT like hard problem solving when you focus on a specific ecological
Mm-hmm.
problem, but more like people oriented, right? Community
Mm-hmm.
driven. Okay.
Correct.
Great, got it. So that was the Heal Earth. I think we would really want to learn about the scope of this activity, right? And how much effort and time did it take for you to pull it off?
Um, I think, yeah, we did it during my freshman and sophomore year, and
Hmm.
then I moved to United States for my junior year. Um, but um, So we would basically go to schools, organize little workshops about plastic pollution awareness, and then we would also organize little events in Eco Park,
Hmm.
where we would invite like biologists to talk about Uzbekistan's air quality and the reasons why it's getting worse and worse. Um, yeah, I think we just did it throughout the year. It wasn't very often, but let's say once a month we would go to schools or twice a
Hmm.
month. And then during summer we would organize events in the park.
Hmm. So overall, Heal Earth project consisted of a hosting various conversations with people who have enough expertise to speak about these problems and educate community
Mhm.
about the problem, about what they could do to solve the problem, right? Or what they could do to protect themselves from being affected. What was the focus of those conversations? And did you did you try to curate the content together with these experts? Or were they the ones who were building these presentations and talks?
Um, the focus of the program was just to be aware about the air quality in Uzbekistan and the pollution that it's facing.
Mhm.
And we're learning about little activities that we can do to prevent that on our end. Of
Mhm.
course, everyone acts individually, so we're kind of promoting the idea that it's like if another person is not doing anything towards environmental pollution and not tackling it, doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything as well. It depends on you, and the way you act can make a change.
Mhm.
So it was very created to the idea that everyone can make a change, even if it's a small change.
Mhm. So overall, educational conversations, also cleanups, right, in parks
Hmm.
or in different regions, and also
Yeah.
sharing eco bags, right? I guess, or selling eco bags, designing and selling them to.
Sharing eco bags to the people
Mhm.
who came to our events.
Okay, sharing eco bags. Now another question comes in, right? There had to be something which you could, like afford the eco bags with, right?
Hmm.
So did you receive any sort of funding for this project and how did you secure it?
It was actually personal expenses.
Hmm.
My mom supported a lot, and she used to work as a teacher, and she
Hmm.
said, we were like, Mom, we want to do this project, and she was like, okay, okay, girls, I will support you. So it was my mom's expenses.
Wow, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Not very much related. I remember also organizing different eco actions in my city. I'm not from Uzbekistan. I'm from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and my mom was really against that. So there was like family fights, and I'm really happy to hear that your mom was so supportive of it. It's beautiful. Okay, great. So moving on to Heal Earth, could you also orient us around like the numbers, right? Again,
Mm,
how long was the project very active for? I don't know
mhm,
how many educational conversations did you host? How many actions did you organize? And what is like the reach of the project?
mhm. Um, it was active for 2 years, and we distributed about 200 eco bags, and we planted about 500 paulownia trees in the Samarkand region in the village
Hmm.
where my parents grew up. And I think the number of schools that we visited was more than 10, more than 10 classes.
Hmm. Okay, sounds a lot. Right. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about this project, or can we move on?
I think we can move on. I can talk
Mhm.
more about others as well.
Okay, okay. So after Heal Earth, right? You've already had the YouTube channel active, right?
Mm-hmm.
Producing some content for
Yeah.
it. Already leading Heal Earth. That's already a lot. What was your next step? Your next idea
Um,
or
I
commitment?
know a lot. Okay, this one is pretty common. I know a lot of students do this, but at the same time, I was teaching English for underprivileged students. There was a Telegram channel, ebook club, and they had a different like group chat where there were like different like students, and the channel had over 2,000 kids, and I would basically organize little classes, English classes to talk, like to teach them, let's say,
Hmm.
just simple stuff in English. And I would teach them English, I think it was once a week because there were other like teacher volunteers. And I would like organize Kahoot games for them and just talk about like learning English journey and stuff.
Hmm.
And it was I was doing this at the same time because it was online and it
Hmm.
was through Zoom. So,
I think you were not only teaching English, right, to these kids. You mentioned also that you were mentoring some of them. No?
no, that's a different one.
That's a different one. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, apologies for confusing. Okay, so having an ebook lab would be the third one where you taught English to underprivileged kids, right? Um,
hmm
around 70, right?
Mm, around 70, you mean like 70 students?
Yeah, there was like seven something, or I misheard it.
Oh, no, no. The channel itself had over 2,000 members,
Oh, yeah.
but obviously not all of them joined. So I
Hmm.
think in a class I would have about 20 students or
Hmm.
sometimes less.
Hmm. And when you were developing classes for these students, right?
hmm
Did you think of like developing a specific program using, I don't know, pedagogy? Yeah, I don't know, instilling some educational psychology. How did you approach teaching? Or
Okay.
was it most like, hey, I am so good at English, I can pass these skills and knowledge to this kids. That's what I want to do. So how did you go about
Mhm.
it?
Mm. So at the time I was only ninth grader,
Hmm.
so I didn't really think about doing curriculum
Yeah.
or constructing anything like that.
Mhm.
But the founder of the project, she was also English teacher, so she guided me a lot in this terms. She would allocate like online PDF books that I could use during the classes, or she would also send me like some activity, like worksheets, and then I would share that with other students, and we would work
Mhm.
through those together.
Mhm. Okay, so you collaborated with teachers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's the third activity, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on to okay, so it's ninth grade, right? Summer,
Mhm.
autumn. Okay, already three activities, right?
Hmm.
That already was November, December of your ninth grade or what?
Yeah. So, and I did this community service as
Mm-hmm.
an English language instructor for
Mm-hmm.
about 1.5, max 2 years.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it was for quite a long time. Okay. So right. Um after not like after, right? Um you already were I think doing research into universities, right? Like
Hmm.
which school would I really want to go into? Were you or no?
Um, Honestly, I think I was not really thinking about college application at that time.
Mm,
Again, like I was only ninth grader,
mm,
and I think I was just focusing on my projects.
mm,
And I think at that time I had finished going to IELTS course. So I
mm,
was going to IELTS, like I went to Everest during eighth grade, and I secured 6.5. Um, then during my ninth grade, I was just trying to advance my English again
mm.
and start preparing for SATs.
Okay, okay, great. So IELTS and English were pretty much secured early on, right? So these were not the things that you had to struggle with, closer to the admissions deadlines and like
Yeah.
um when the fire of admissions happens, so to say. Right. And what was the last or like the last activity or activities that you did before relocating to the US?
Mm. The other activity that I did during my sophomore year
Hmm.
was the project that I was inspired to do just by myself. It was called Beyond the Horizon,
Hmm.
and it was focused on supporting rural schools and rural students and mentoring them by organizing writing workshops. So my parents grew up in very, very remote areas of Samarkand, and whenever I visited my grandparents, I would also visit rural schools nearby and just to see and experience what is the school like out there. And every time I visited, I would be almost like heartbroken because s schools were like when I visited schools in winter, they would be extremely cold. Like students would had to like sit in like very warm jackets and scarves and hats, and they were like in a lot of resources. But whenever I talked to them, everyone was so motivational. Everyone was so inspiring and very kind and nice and smart. So I wanted to do some kind of project to support them. And since I grew up in city, I wanted to bring the resources and information I know to these rural students. And my project Beyond the Horizon was focused on organizing little writing workshops. Whenever I visited my grandparents, I would go to those rural schools. I would talk with the principals of the schools to give me like the big rooms, like auditorium, and I would focus mostly on ninth graders, 10th graders, and 11th graders, so high school students,
Hmm.
and then just mentor them on
Hmm.
writing and
Hmm.
yeah.
So wait, you were doing this online or offline or both?
I did it both. So I
Hmm.
would go to those schools
Hmm.
and then I would talk in person.
Hmm.
And some students would like really show eager interest. So I would keep their contacts. And then whenever they applied to, let's say, international programs like FLEX or even local programs that were organized by American Embassy in the Tashkent, like Defense Camp or Education USA, I would help them with their application.
Hmm. Hmm. So that was the project where you mentored students, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, where a lot of interaction happened, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. So organizing writing workshops, mentoring students from villages, right? And
Hmm.
but how were you doing this offline? You were going to villages on the weekends or during holidays. How,
Hmm.
yeah, how did you approach that?
So like you said, I was going to schools during holidays, um, but or I would skip my school in the city to go because if I
Mhm.
w did go during holidays, schools would also be
Yeah.
obviously closed. So I would sometimes take break from my city school and go
Mhm.
there for like 3 or 4 days, organize workshop, and then come back.
Wow.
And but mostly it was online,
Yeah.
like when I actually mentored students.
So that did require some sacrifices to kick off, right? Like
Yeah.
some serious juggling of, like moral choices too. Like, what do I pursue? And that speaks a lot of who you are, though. Um, All right, so let us recap. YouTube channel, Heal Earth, an eco action educational project, right? Then also ebook club, where you were teaching kids from underprivileged regions and context English, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth one is the Beyond the Horizon. Horizon
Yeah.
again, um, very community driven, right? Organizing writing workshops, mentoring students, sacrificing your own studies to give and bring high quality education to the places which just don't have access to that education. Um, okay, great. And was it the last activity that you did before relocating to the US?
Um, actually, no.
No, one more.
I think I did a lot of my activities actually in Uzbekistan because when
Mhm.
I came here, I had to focus on other stuff.
Yeah.
So another thing I did was there was a project that my sister found. It was called
Mhm.
Empower Her, and it
Mhm.
was a nonprofit organization providing free classes in about 6 languages.
Mhm.
Also classes about like web development, well-being, and art.
Mhm.
And I was a manager there, so I would kind of coordinate volunteers and help my sister with this project.
Mhm.
And it was online project, so it didn't require as much commitment, but yeah, I helped with this one as well.
Okay, I think that showed a lot of how well you're able to work as a team member, right? Because in the previous projects, while they did require collaboration too, for example, in Beyond Horizon, collaboration with school principals, right? Cooperation with
Hmm.
them in
Yeah.
teaching English classes with English language teachers and Heal Earth with different experts. But in all of these projects, you were the founder, like the solo founder, right?
Hmm.
Here, it was mostly like a collaborative effort between you and your sister.
Hmm.
Okay, how? Oh, not how. Okay, let us more understand the context of this activity that you did, right? So you were managing this very unique project, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, so how what were the things that you were doing there? And
Hmm.
also the how much did you try to grow it by? If you did, like, were there any I don't know, metrics driven decisions? Yeah.
Um, I think in this one, like I said, I was manager and I was trying to learn just to have to manage volunteers.
Hmm.
And there were about, I think, over 70 volunteers. And they were like the project has chapters in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan. Um, and for this project, I was trying to help find student teachers, volunteers who could share their expertise with other girls. And um, as the name of the project tells, Empower Her, it was created to help girls
Hmm.
and educate them.
So overall, you were dealing with, so to say, human resources, right? Like organizing
Yeah,
people,
managing, yeah.
managing that. How complex was that?
Um, I think it wasn't very complex, just
Mhm.
being nice to
Mhm.
volunteers when they're talking because
Mhm.
obviously they're volunteering and they're giving their time, their precious time to teach girls and just being nice to them and understanding a lot of like cultural differences because, like I said, we had chapters in Kazakhstan and
Yeah.
Turkmenistan as well. And yeah, that was
Okay.
it.
So most of your activities were built in the beginning or like before, starting from before ninth grade through ninth grade, right? And
Yeah.
okay, that because that's already how many? That's already five, right? And it's still ninth grade isn't over. Yep. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. Great. So what was your what did you decide to pursue not like after this project, right? I guess you were co-creating a lot of and co-managing a lot of projects at the same time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the next activity that added up to your list?
Okay. Next one was called Ikat Honum, and here I was co-founder with my sister. And
Mm-hmm.
Ikat, it relates to our Uzbek traditional atlas and adras, our traditional fabric. And um, we wanted to promote our traditional ikat and our traditional dresses in our modern life because I thought they were very beautiful, and I thought that we can bring back those values to girls here in 21st century. And for this project, we would interview Uzbek artisans and connect them with American merchants to help them like sell their products. And
Mm-hmm.
then we would arrange little workshops for participants to show, like, kind of do a fashion show to show their atlas and address from different regions.
Mm-hmm.
And and we would also make food together. It was very small group, like intimate, and everyone knew each other there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Okay, so the project about art, again about community, right? And again
Yeah.
about something that is very, very niche, right? Like, um, okay, and that Atoll is not typically business mindset like, but like the thread that I found right now across all projects, like right, you engaged in a solving problems by engaging people and by engaging, I'd say, shared resources, right? And that's what business activity when you're building a business, right, is about. So I think that's something that admissions committee could have seen in you too. Like that's the mental frameworks you've developed by pursuing what you pursue. But the strongest highlight is that like you care about people. So whatever you build is going to be built to be, like for the service of society, right? To make this world like a better place, and your whole application just speaks with that. Um, all right, guys, questions for the audience. Have you got any questions for Medina regarding her ECs, regarding her activities that we've just discussed? If you do, please ask questions right now. Okay. We're still expecting, right? Please do share, but we're
Mm.
going to switch to another activity, I guess. Okay.
Oh, someone
Somebody,
is reading the.
yeah, somebody raised the hand. Madina Dilova, right? Yeah, please share your question.
Good evening, everyone. I listened to all the activities, like half of the activities because I was late to the meeting. But like, what I realized is that most of the activities, were around leadership. You were doing a lot of leadership, and like, do you think that someone can still have flagman ECs even without leadership positions? Like, can someone do internships and like not be a leader in the position? Like.
Mhm.
Mhm. I think that's absolutely fine if you are more introverted and if you would rather focus on doing internships and stuff like that by yourself, it's absolutely fine. But I think it's important for admissions officers to see that you are maybe have some characteristics of a leader. So if you want to gain those like leadership skills, I would really advise you to join with your friends or other inspiring people to found a project that you're genuinely passionate about, and maybe you're not, let's say, the main founder or the founder. You can be like co-founder, or you can be a treasurer, you can be a manager, and those like roles also show your leadership skills.
Yeah, because leadership is not about a specific position, right? Leadership is
Yeah.
mostly about how you approach your responsibilities and how you approach the situations that are challenging, how you approach solving problems when they arise, right? And how you work with people. That is leadership. Position is not leadership. Like position is mostly a specific set of functions and responsibilities that you choose to specialize in, right? Based on your passions, your experiences, and etc. I think that we must abolish looking at them at like, like that there's the tier, like of the president, like the ministers.
Yeah.
Now, the ministers can, like, for example, of ministries, like if we speak about student government, they can actually be even cooler than presidents, right? Because of how much output they create, how many projects they launch, and how influential those projects become, right? It's just that these two positions, they require different functions, right? If you're a president of student government, you need to possess like more strategic, long-term kind of meta level vision for how student government must operate, right? And learn to cohesively manage all that. While if you're a minister, you have to do that within your specialized area of passion, interest, and etc. So yeah, leadership, in other words, leadership can be expressed through any activities. It's not tied to a position. Mhm.
Great.
Okay. Did you internships, sports experiences? Okay. Did you have research or internship or maybe sports experience? And how
Mm.
important they are compared to passion projects?
hmm
Mhm.
Um, I started writing my research paper in September. It was my admissions group at freshman, but then I was so overloaded with getting my recommendation letters and writing my supplementals that I decided to postpone my research paper. And I'll tell you a secret, I still didn't finish it. I don't know. I guess I will write a research paper when I get to college. And regarding internships, I did land internship, but I wasn't able to do it because I had other programs going on, so I didn't have time to do that. And sport experience, no. So basically, no, I didn't have research experience, internship, or
Mhm.
sports. But in my essay, I mentioned that I did dancing because growing up, I attended different dancing classes. I did Indian dance, Georgian, Uzbek traditional, and right now I am kind of self-taught dancer. I dance Uzbek traditional dance at fundraiser events for immigrants and refugees, at Independence Days of Uzbekistan and other cultures, and just diversity festivals.
Mhm. So again, the dancing wasn't like a sports experience, right? With
Yeah.
like competitions. It wasn't like competitive, mostly creative, cultural experience, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
just creative expression.
Yeah. All right. And then another question related to projects. Medina, do you think it's good to pursue content creation on YouTube? If we
hmm
speak of, I guess, student projects for, again, admissions purposes, and what does it depend on?
hmm Regarding YouTube, I think you can become a content creator, like everyone can become, as long as you have something niche to show to the world.
Mhm.
If it's something that everyone does, I think it will be hard to stay motivated. Um, and I think when you're creating content, you really have to think about what's going to be your content? Are you able to keep it up for a prolonged amount of time?
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And I can see her second question. I'm going to apply to the girls, but my programming level is beginner. How I expanded. So when I applied to take girls and I became finalist, which is, I think it's a very competitive program because when I asked how many applicants they received that year, they said that they received 2,400 applicants and only four girls were selected, which means like one out of 600. But to be honest, I didn't have any programming skills. I did some game development at Inha University. They had summer courses, and I attended game development courses there. And then we had a little competition where I got second place.
Hmm.
And other than that, I used to do filmmaking and video editing, and that was pretty much it for my technical skills. But also, I showed them apart from programming or the things that I'm good at math or I'm interested in sciences, or I want to develop my technical skills. So you can not have programming level, advanced programming level, but you can have something else that represents STEM, or you can also show that you're hopeful to learn that in the future.
Hmm. Which I think this reasoning pertains to pretty much any type of activity, right? Like and the kind of lens that I think students must be aware of when they apply, right? When you think of, okay, I want to major in, say, computer science or like in business or in anything else, um, the usual ways in which we start thinking is like, okay, I have to have a lot of business activity. Like I need to have like five successful businesses if it's business major, right? Or if it's computer science, I must code and I must code a lot, right? But um, it's like it doesn't work this way. Like you must think in terms of, okay, what skills and I don't know, knowledge does it require, right? And where else can I take it from, right? What kind of experiences? Because even if these are different industries or different areas of pursuit, they can actually be very correlating in terms of like what they require from you, right? As a personal executor or builder of that thing. Um, yeah. Okay. So we switched to a brief set of questions, to a brief Q&A related to Madina's activities, right? Again, to replay, ninth grade, built around six activities, right? Through ninth grade already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, YouTube channel, Heal Earth, ebook club, Beyond the Horizon, Empower Her, and also another project where Medina was promoting artisans craft, right?
Yeah.
Again, could you share the name again, please?
Yeah, Ikat Hanum.
Yeah, Ikat Hanım. Right. So the ninth grade is over, right? Is it
Mm-hmm.
over? Is it over? Right.
Yeah, we
What is
can
the
say that.
next thing you start pursuing?
Um, Next thing, I think it was before I started my sophomore year, so
Hmm.
10th grade.
Hmm.
I joined this project. It's called Birlikte Yükselemez, and it means we rise together.
Hmm.
And I can say that it's Uzbekistan's largest reading community. And it was an online project where I was a coordinator, and I had a group of, I think, around 25 students. And coordinators would like there were a lot of students, so each group had their own coordinator, and coordinators would connect with each other and talk to organize debates, weekly book discussions, and quizzes among groups. And it was an online project, and every week we were given a book to read, and I would read along participants, like I would read with participants those books, and then we would organize debates and quizzes.
Hmm. Right. So wait, you started doing this in the beginning of your 10th grade, or was it summer?
Yeah, it was like summer and yeah, it was summer. It was project in
Mhm.
summer.
Okay, all right. Um, And okay, so was it the project that you were pursuing only throughout the summer, or was it more of a long-term one that you continued working on, I don't know, beyond 10th grade?
It was mainly summer, but
Mhm.
then this like the founder of the project came up with something else, and I joined that second project as well. But then after a while, I had to quit because I was struggling to do all of this. So I said, "Oh, sorry, I have to leave."
Okay, noted. Great. So that's already seventh activity, right? Okay. Um, all right. And wait, seventh. Organizing debates and book discussions for, again, for what groups of people?
Um, it was just book lovers, any age,
Hmm.
any gender. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Great. And when you were building this project, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
how were you working on the reach, right? Was it did you plan promotion in stages or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, how was it?
I think in as you can like look at most of my activities, it was more created to my peers. So when I was in ninth grade, it was like
Hmm.
ninth graders, 10th graders, like 11th graders.
Hmm.
So um, I think I would like just go to schools and talk with principals or talk with teachers to reach students because teachers love seeing their students engage in different projects or doing some volunteering. So I would talk with teachers or principals to help me gain some audience.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. Okay, so that was the seventh project, and right. So we need 10 activities, right, that you were applying with through Common App, right? And then we're
Mm-hmm.
going to transition to discussing specifically QuestBridge, Common App, essays, and how you pitch these activities, how you connected them into a cohesive and a congruent application. So which activity was the eighth one, the ninth one, and the 10th one? Let's
Mm-hmm.
spit it up a bit.
Yeah. So now we're going over my activities in 1 second. Let me
Mhm.
just knock in the door.
Okay, what questions have we got? Okay, stats, ACs, honors.
So right now we're going my activities in
Yep.
Common App, but I didn't even use Common Apps because I got accepted into UPenn through like their kind of easy cycle. Um, yeah, and then the next activity that I put in was STSK, Seattle Tashkent Sister City Association. And when I was in Uzbekistan, I joined this group of people, and this group, STSK is basically Americans and Uzbeks coming together, and this is um how to explain like this association creates exchanges between this group of people, like Americans, like people from Seattle, Washington, and Uzbek people. And I was just a translator and guide when I was in Uzbekistan because we would have a lot of like American visitors coming to Tashkent during anniversary meetings or just visiting Bukhara, Samarkand, and other cities. And I volunteered as a translator and guide for those people. And when I moved to Washington, and I happened to, this is very, um, kind of mind blowing because I never knew that I being like a volunteer at STSK, which stands for Seattle Tashkent Sister City, I never knew that I'm going to move from Tashkent to Seattle
Mhm.
because now I
Mhm.
was on one end of the association and now I like jumped to the other end. Now I live in Washington State and I live very close to Seattle. So it was very kind of funny, but when I came here, I became official board member and together with this association, we organize events for Uzbek immigrants here and Americans. And I MC those events. I lead the raffle games, and then I work with Uzbek immigrant children
Mhm.
to like organize performances with them. Like they would recite Uzbek poems or and then I would dance as well. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
my next activity.
Okay. And the last two. The last two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or one, two, two.
Yeah. Let me see. The next one, 1 second. Oh, when I was in Uzbekistan, time to time, I also volunteered as a translator for another person. It was kind of our family friend. She was CEO of the Gulnor Art brand, and Gulnor Art is a local initiative for creating traditional handmade embroidery garments and accessories. And what she created was truly beautiful. She used to work with village women, and she would give them resources and materials to make embroidery, and then she would sell them in international markets, and she would give like pretty good salaries to those women as well.
Mhm.
And for her, there were a lot of international exhibitions in Intercontinental Hotel in Tashkent, and I would basically go there and I would stand by her table and help her connect with international customers because we had a lot of Italians and French people and Indians and Russian people
Mhm.
coming to
Mhm.
the exhibition, and she didn't speak like English and she didn't really
Mhm.
know Russian much. So
Mhm.
I would basically help her with
Mhm.
translation, and I also served kind of as a sales consultant.
Mhm. So, translation wise, as in a Seattle Tashkent City Sister Association,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
and this experience, right? How many
yeah.
languages were you coordinating with speaking in?
Hmm. I speak four
Yeah.
languages. I speak Uzbek, Russian, English, and Turkish. But when I was volunteering, I was mainly using Uzbek, English, and Russian. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really using Turkish because we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have much
Mm-hmm.
Turkish.
Hmm. All right. And the last one, activity.
And the last one is the project, like, is the committee that I joined when it came here. It's Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. And I am in the committee in Edmond School District. And I close the work that was the superintendent of the school district. And so this committee basically brings students from different high schools together, and we tackle the challenges that high schools here are facing.
Mm-hmm.
And we also work with fostering student involvement, leadership diversity, and advocacy for Advent School District, where I go to high school.
So overall, this is an organization where that is not specific to a like to one school, but rather like a consortium of representatives from different high schools in your region.
Yeah.
And you basically deal with like solving the problems in your high schools, more like education, activism, leadership, that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Within this activity, do you work with the policy or like was do you act as a decision maker like collaboratively with other
Mm-hmm.
representatives to change to change policies at your high schools? Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, like you said, it brings students from different high schools together. Like in Edmond School District, we I think have more than 5 high schools, and from each high school there are 3 to 4 representatives, or sometimes just two. And then everyone coming from their high school, they understand the students that go to the high school, and we work together on implementing like small events or some like new rules with the superintendent of the school district.
Mm-hmm. That sounds a lot like student government, but more
Yeah,
like
it's like student governments,
Mhm.
but among different high schools, not it's just one high school.
So it's like just wider, and there is a higher complexity to like discussions
Hmm.
and decision making. Mhm. So overall, these 10 activities, right? But when you were applying to University of Pennsylvania, right, you
Yeah.
were applying through QuestBridge.
Mm-hmm.
And QuestBridge, we will talk about what that is, right? It has a slightly different procedure as to like how many activities to put there, what kind of essays, etc., right? So let's first start this discussion by, telling people about what QuestBridge is, right? And who can take part in this program. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and overall, what it requires from you.
Okay, for QuestBridge, I actually was able to put only 5 activities, um, and those were that I'm board member at Seattle Tashkent Sister City Association, and then I put in my YouTube channel, my project Beyond the Horizon, my fourth project with my sister Heal Earth, and the fifth community service, which was me being English language instructor.
Mhm, mhm. Beyond the Horizon
And
ebook Heal Earth, Empower Her, right?
uh, no, no. So first STSK,
Oh,
like Seattle
mhm.
Tashkent City
Yep.
Association. Then my YouTube channel.
Hmm.
Third is Beyond the Horizon. Fourth is Heal Earth, and the fifth ebook club.
Ebook Club, Ebook Club. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was trying to show that I have different interests and that I can take on different roles. That's why I was focusing on the impact, but also I was focusing on the fact that I have different interests and hobbies, like to show
Hmm.
that I'm like well-rounded.
Hmm. Yeah, but when we're speaking about well-roundedness, right, in admissions,
Hmm.
there are quite diverse views on well-roundedness, right? Um,
Hmm.
yes, like your application need to show that, hey, I possess different kinds of skills, right? But you also need to show that you've used them like either to serve one purpose or in some one very cohesive, clear your direction, right? Like that
Hmm.
makes you like a big shining standout there. So how did you connect them to do that, if you did?
Hmm. Um, I think even if you like were to read my essays or even my personal statement,
Mhm.
I think they show a lot about my personality, someone who loves engaging in civic engagement and doing community service, someone who loves their culture and traditions, and someone who's genuinely passionate about empowering students when it comes to education.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Empowering students when it comes to education, community service, impact. Okay. So again, more in like that the direction that is inspired by values, not like by a professional pursuit, right? Or like a specific kind of activity, right? But
Yeah.
more of again who you are as a person and what you made out of your experiences. Um,
Hmm.
all right. So through QuestBridge, you applied with 5 activities,
Hmm.
and you also had to produce an additional set of essays, right? Um,
Hmm.
yeah. Plus, you had to do the Common App too. So like in the Common App, there's personal statement and additional essays for each university applied to. In
Hmm.
QuestBridge, what do we have?
Like you said, I didn't use my Common App profile.
Yeah.
Questbridge has have their like own kind of website that I needed to fill out. It's very much like Common App, but they had more essays and they required less activities. So like for Common App, I mean, it depends on how much activities you want to put in, but for Questbridge, I could only put in like 5.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to essays, I actually pulled out my essays now. They had obviously a personal statement, but it wasn't 650 words, it was 800 words. And I think it gave me a little more space to explain some of the things in my personal statement and to talk about and show my personality a little more. Um, and then they had a small, kind of almost short response. It was 200 words that asked us to talk in detail about one of the activities that we are genuinely passionate about and why it matters to us. And I talked about my YouTube channel. And then they had seven short response questions. Each response had to be 35 words. And like Stanford, Stanford has short responses. It was kind of similar
Mhm.
questions like, what is your favorite subject to study and why?
Mhm.
Or what is your favorite source of inspiration? Or how do you spend your weekend?
Mhm.
Or what compliment are you most proud of receiving and who gave it to you? So, a set of seven questions, very sh like short response, very creative way. I think I answered to them creatively.
Mhm.
And then there was 400-word essay that asked us about our values and how our behavior is shaped by our values. And another part, like 400-word essay, where we could provide additional information about our stories or just to help them to get us know better.
Okay. So
Yeah.
overall,
So,
okay. So through QuestBridge, you had more space to share who you are, right?
yeah.
Because it had like
Yeah.
800 words long essay. Then seven short responses alike to Stanford, brief ones, right? And extra supplementals, right? Uh,
Yeah. So these are just for QuestBridge.
okay.
Like, because QuestBridge is like two-stage. So
Mm-hmm.
first you need to become selected as a finalist,
Mm-hmm.
and then you will write supplementals to colleges.
Uh-huh. So overall, like QuestBridge, it replaces the personal statement you apply with through Common App, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, got it. So it's different stages, but again, when you're in your first stage of QuestBridge, right? Who reads your application?
Um, Crossbridge team. So,
Hmm.
I think for this year they received over 30,000 applicants
Hmm.
for just Crossbridge like cycle for first
Hmm.
cycle, and they selected out about 7,000 finalists, and um, all the finalists after becoming finalists, they had to apply to colleges
Hmm.
with their supplementals.
Hmm.
But all of the essays that they had written for QuestBridge and all the other information they had provided for QuestBridge was like sent out to each college that they have applied.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Right. Now, again, when you were working on your essays and on reading supplements, right?
Hmm.
How were you choosing what to write about? Was it guided by what you're excited to write about, something that is interesting, right?
Hmm.
Or again, there was more deliberate, like methodical decision making to the process. And if second, then yeah, how was it going?
Um, I think for me, the main idea was really understanding the prompt first
Mm-hmm.
and understanding whether the prompt is kind of like want me to be more academic and nerdy, or is it giving me space to be creative and whimsy and a little, I don't know, a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, for short response questions for QuestPage, I was very creative. I was kind of like I showed my values through those short responses.
Mm-hmm.
And then for more like longer essays, I was trying to be more academic as well.
Mm-hmm.
So creative, academic, and like whimsy kind of.
Mm-hmm. Creative academic whimsy. Do you think like UPenn, right? When I
Mm-hmm.
think of, whimsical students, I mostly think of either Brown or maybe no, I don't think of Yale, but Brown, yeah, that does stand out. Like maybe Caltech, but they kind of have their own type of whimsy, right?
Mm-hmm.
UPenn wise, right? What kind of students do they
Mm-hmm.
value? Like, do they
Um,
see having?
yeah, I think, like I said, since I was applying to Wharton, I think um, UPenn wants to kind of contradict traditional view of people who want to major in business.
Hmm.
because like I will be talking about Wharton since I was applying to Wharton. Um, so whenever I say that my business is, so whenever I say that my major is business, everyone is like more cash. Okay, cash. You want to make cash. I'm like, yes, but I also have other values that I want to pursue through business, like empowering communities, like the kind of projects that I did throughout my high school.
Hmm.
And I think UPenn wants to contradict that idea and they want to see that your ideas and your values are not just about making more money because you want to study business, but also, like I said at the beginning of our webinar, it's about business ethics and like supporting small businesses or empowering communities through business.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Great. So again, it's like how you'll be applying your business degree in the future,
Hmm.
right? Through which
Yeah.
lens? Right. Okay. So we did talk enough about activities and we talked about the essays and writing. Guys, if you have questions, please share your questions related to essays, supplementals, writing. And we have the first question from Hanzada. What did you do to improve your writing? What were the specific unique lessons and insights you highlighted in your essays? Yeah,
Hmm.
guys, do share more.
Um, yeah. Like many of you guys might already know, I was part of freshman's admissions program first, and then I was transferred to scholars. And during admissions program, freshman gives you a lot of like reading assignments and a lot of questions that really make you reflect on your life and the kind of stuff you were engaged like all of these years. And I think one of the ways I improved my writing was through reading books. And right now, especially like my current self, like I wrote my essays this year, right? And this year especially, I was reading a lot of American classical literature and just books in English. And one of the things I like doing is I have like little notebook where
Mhm.
I write down. It says dream, but
Beautiful,
I have
beautiful.
yeah, I have a
Manifesting,
little notebook.
manifested.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I have a little notebook where I like writing down some of the words or phrases I saw in the book in like into my notebook and I use them in my essays.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
um one of the other ways I liked improving my writing was just answering a set of simple questions that make you reflect on your life. Like, what is your favorite color and why? What are the challenges that you went through and how did you tackle? Like, all of those simple questions, I think are very important to be answered before you start your college application because they kind of help you to remember the memories and experiences that you lived through for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or more. And then you can actually use those ideas in your college application as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Do we have any more questions? Yeah, we have. How did you write creatively? Can you clarify this more?
Mm, when I say creatively, um, it depends. Like if it, like you said, in some of the essays, I was like more academic and nerdy. But when I say creatively, it means not obeying some of the grammatical rules because I want to focus on some of the words. So one of my sentences could be just one word. Or creatively, when I say creatively, is when I started my essay with a hook, was a very abstract or I don't know, very outrageous phrase or idea that I throw into readers at the beginning of my essay that
Mhm.
makes readers excited to learn more about me or to read my essay
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
so much interest.
Mhm. Mhm. When I think of like ridiculous or like crazy things, like I remember an essay of a student who got into Harvard who wrote about pizza. Um,
Pizza?
yeah, I don't remember what was the essay exactly about, but it was something ridiculous.
Hmm.
Like two types of pizzas, I guess. Yeah, anyway, that does work. Yeah. Okay, great. How many books from American literature did you finish before writing your essays? Yeah, and which books would you advise to read?
I can't really remember like exactly how many books, but I have read American Tragedy, To Kill a Mockingbird, To Kill the Mockingbird, Little Women, The Call of the Wild, Separate Peace, Great Expectations, The
Mm,
Great Gatsby,
mm-hmm,
and then The Sun Also Rises.
mm,
So I was like
yeah.
trying to make sure that I read different authors
Mm-hmm,
because I wanted to learn more about their writing style.
yeah.
For example, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. He uses a lot of dialogues in his writing, but as you read his book, even though he doesn't say who said which phrase, you kind of like understand what he's trying to say.
Mm-hmm,
So if you want to like learn how to create your essays where dialogue is the main part, you can read Ernest Hemingway.
mm-hmm,
Um, Also, A Separate Piece, it's a book about post-war and the trauma that came with it. There was a lot of beautiful phrases and like writing as well.
mm-hmm. All right. So a lot of classical American literature, as you said earlier, right? Um, the kind of literature that a lot of American high school students, not a lot of, but like I think everyone reads, right?
Hmm.
The kind of the background that they go into college with. Um,
Yeah.
do you think that helps a lot with, understanding the culture or like, how
Mhm.
can I say? If you think
Like
about,
the Western world.
yeah, 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 the Western world mostly.
Hmm. Um, I think it actually helps, but again, when you're applying to colleges, you should be yourself. Like it's not important that you show you have understanding of Westerns or Western ideas or values, or that you actually follow those values. Just be yourself. If you're cultural and traditional like me, you can do that. Or are, if you have Western ideas and values that shape your life, you can show that. It doesn't matter where you come from for admissions officers.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, and there's a question from Abdulatif. Is our intro in PS should be attention seeking, I mean impressive? Medina, your take?
Actually, remember, Valera, I shared with you the introduction of
Yeah,
my PS.
yeah, you did. You did.
So is it possible for you to like maybe just copy paste into a clear Google Doc and then like share?
Yes, we absolutely can do that. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, we can do that. But something that I want to share with Abdulatif, right? I think when it comes to writing a personal statement, there is no absolute should or like shouldn't, because writing it's a very flexible and creative process.
Hmm.
Some things will work for you, some things will not work for you, but will work for other people, right? It again depends on your activities, your experiences, your personality, your personal choice, your personal vision and desire for the writing, for the essay, right? For the tone. Um, a lot of things can work. Just learn as much as possible about writing, write as much as possible, get feedback, and that's how you're going to arrive at your personal statement. Um, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Madina. Oh, um, okay, wait a second. I think I am. Can I pause it for a moment and
Uh-huh.
okay. So here we're back. Please
Oh
read.
wait, it's kind of altered. I think I sent you something else.
Uh,
But I remember my uh
okay.
I mean, I remember my PS. Summer of 2012. I was 5-year-old Rascal. As I was standing eager to prove my wit, a rust-colored key in the ditch caught my attention. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers, I yelled. I started out scratching words, Mama, Papa. On the first surface I encountered was my newfound toy. Soon, both sides of the once shiny wickle were wrecked by my 10-foot art. Suddenly, I dropped my toy as an adrenaline rush surged through me. At the center of attention, I felt the drilling stares of the residents and heard the furious shouts of the current owner raining down on me. Such was my childhood. So here, like the introduction, I'm I'm telling how I'm like giving an example of one of my childhood mischiefs where I found keys in the canal, like in the ditch, and I started like wrecking. I started like scratching out words about Papa on our neighbor's like black, black like new car, and then like residents and the car owner came to me and they started like shouting at me, and I started like running away. So such was my childhood. It's very mischievous. It's very outrageous to do that because my parents then had to like repay for the car. But I'm like talking about my childhood because later in my PS, I'm gonna talk about more of my current self and my realizations. Because I wanted to contrast my childhood kind of with my current self. Because in my PS, like I said, I went for the idea of connecting my childhood mischiefs, energy, and zeal with determination and discipline to achieve specialized goals and to found my own community projects.
Mhm. All right. Um, okay. So there was a narrative stemming from your childhood transitioning to your current self, and then how that inspires your projects, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Did you like, um, I wouldn't say a couple of people. Some people take this thread and then also open up some parts of that story in their supplementals.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that? Did you try to like cross-reference them, or no?
Mm, I think I didn't cross-reference, but at the end of my PS, I mentioned that now my childhood mischiefs are scars because I have scars from my childhood mischiefs, like on my jaw, I have like stitches and stuff. So I said, now my childhood mischiefs are scars, serving as reminders that I was full of like energy and that I can connect my determination with discipline to achieve specialized goals and to benefit the community. And by saying that, I'm kind of maybe reversing my activities because my activities are
Yeah,
a lot about community
yeah,
service.
they are.
Yeah.
They are.
And my PS and the activities that I did connect together. Like they make sense. When they read my PS and then they look over at my activities, they're like, oh yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, right. Stopping sharing. Great. So that was the portion of essays, and writing. Um, okay. Some insights. We didn't answer that question, right? About from Amir. I think yes, when I was switching to the presentation. All right. So okay, and the last portion of the application that we did not discuss is the honors section, right? Also, a highly requested portion that the audience wanted to learn about. Could you quickly walk us through it, please?
Wait, you said honors?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me pull up my list. Um, I think my honors are, I think they're good, but they're not like exceptionally good, I think.
Mhm.
Let me just open it. Hmm. Oh, so the first one I mentioned was that I became Rice Challenge finalist, and it is an international program where high school students aged 15 to 17, they do a community project, and they apply with that project to this program, and then the application was basically me talking about what I did to like organize and create my project and what was the impact. And I became finalist here, and they select about 500 students as finalists out of 80,000. And then the second activity that I put in was that I became Tech Girls finalist. and it's also pretty competitive. It's 4 out of 2,400. And then I and then after that I put in Yale Young Global Scholars with a full ride scholarship. With this project, they selected out 1,800 out of 13,000. And for Questbridge, as far as I remember, I only had to put in 3 activities, but I'm just gonna read out what I wanted to put in for my Common App.
Mhm.
For my fourth one, I wanted to put in that I became Questbridge National College Match finalist. And then for fifth, I said that the fifth one kind of not traditional honor or award, but one of my documentary films that I worked on with my American anthropologist friends was displayed at the Seattle Art Museum during ICAD exhibition, and I was honored with an award, which was $800.
Nilfar asks to repeat the name of the first program.
Yeah, it's called Rise Challenge.
Rise,
Rise Challenge.
Rise
Yeah,
Challenge.
Rise. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty, a popular program. I guess many people heard about it.
Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay, basically, yeah, Madina, thank you for sharing there, for writing. Okay. Um, yeah, basically the program where you deal with like d device solutions for global problems, right? As far as I know.
Yeah, for this project, for this program, you can create a project that tackles the challenges in your community. So it can be more focused on local people in your area, or it can be something global,
Okay. All right. And you focused on more
local.
local.
For this, for Rise Challenge, I applied with my project Beyond the Horizon.
Okay. So
Yeah.
when you applied to Rice Challenge, you already applied with a project.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mhm. Okay, got it. We have another question from Hanzada. Thank you, Hanzada.
Okay.
How do you think your experience at YYGS program contributed to your overall application?
Mm-hmm. Um, I think it helped me a lot because um when you're writing your essays, everyone like you might think like, oh, I'm not interesting, or I don't have anything really interesting to share for as admissions officers. And I think YYGS or any other international programs do exactly that. When you go to those programs, you learn about other cultures or about you learn more about diversity or the, your traditional ideas might be challenged or you discover something new that you never existed. So I think these international programs really help you with creating ideas for your essays. And specifically with YYGS, I worked on capstone project related to renewable energy and solar panels with a group of other students, and we received unofficial the Best Impact and Storytelling Award for our capstone project.
Mhm.
And I wrote about it in one of my essays. I connected to my personal story and it said, oh, I explored that interest when I went to Howard Jails, and then I talked about it.
Mhm. Okay, great. Okay, so is there anything else that we haven't covered? Um, I think we didn't cover the stats just briefly, right?
Oh,
Then
yeah.
yeah, so could you walk us through it,
Oh,
please?
yeah. So I took a SAT a couple of times, like several times,
Mhm.
before I scored 1,500. Um, just before scoring 1,500, I got 1,490, and I wasn't preparing for my next exam because I had a lot of like, oh, okay, I scored 1,500 in October,
Mhm.
and I got 1,490 in August. But after I got my 1,490 in August, I was so busy with like writing so many essays, getting recommendation letters, and writing 3 pages of brag sheets for all of like for each of my teachers. I didn't focus on SAT much, but I decided, oh, let me just take SAT in October, and then I got 1,500. And then regarding IELTS, that most of you need to submit. I didn't have to take IELTS because now I'm going to American high school and the primary language of instruction is English. So most of the schools I was applying, like I wanted to apply to, like, I applied to Columbia and Cornell as well through Questbridge. Um, I think Columbia waives your IELTS requirement if you have 1700 and above on IELTS. And some of the colleges don't require your IELTS score if you're going to American high school and if you get American high school diploma.
Mhm.
But with UPenn, it was kind of different because UPenn has very strict rules when it comes to showing your English proficiency. You either have to be a native speaker, so your first language must be English, or you must like go to American high school for 4 years. But I'm only going to finish my American high school with 2 years here. So after submitting my Questbridge application, they contacted my counselor and said, "Oh, Madina needs to submit her English proficiency score."
Mhm.
And my counselor said, "Oh, do you have it?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't. I thought the fact that I'm already going to American high school was enough." But then she said, "No, you have to submit your English proficiency score." And my counselor was kind of fighting with UPenn. She was like, "Madina is excellent. Her English is excellent. She doesn't
Mhm.
need English score. But why you guys are requiring that?" But then they were like, "No, she needs to take it." And then they said, "Oh, the easiest way to submit it as soon as possible was taking Duolingo
Mhm.
test."
Mhm.
And then UPenn sent me a fee waiver code to
Mhm.
take Duolingo test. So I just took Duolingo test for UPenn, and they made sure that my official score was automatically sent to UPenn. So I guess you can do like special like settings so that only one college receives your official score automatically. That was UPenn because they provided me with fee waiver code.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, and now the DET specific question. Can you give some tips on Duolingo English test, i.e., how to prepare for it and what test prep materials have you used?
Oh, okay. DAT comes out in 2 days. It's very flexible, and I think you actually need to check the requirements for each college that you're applying. Some might not accept Duolingo, but actually most American colleges do. And for DET, I didn't prepare much. Like I didn't even know about structure or anything. I just had 1 week because UPenn gave me 1 week to take the test, and I had to submit my score as soon as possible because they were already making decisions on my application. Um, for DT, I would just advise you to practice on their official website. So if you just search up Duolingo English test, you are provided with free practice tests and free uh, exercises for each subsection. And also, I watched YouTube videos of other like instructors taking DET, like DET practice tests. They were going through their strategies, and I also learned the type of questions that I'm gonna get through DET. But DET is pretty easy. Like, um, I think you got this. Just I think like 2 weeks max, if you have time, obviously. If 2 weeks max, 3 weeks of preparation is enough to take DT.
Mhm. And the question from I don't know the name, but there's a surname. Do you think SAT score below 1500 and higher, 1450, isn't good enough?
Um, it depends on the colleges that you're
Yeah.
applying. For example, if you're applying to top-notch schools, 15, I mean, 1450 is pretty low. I think what you need to do is to just go and search up common data set for each college that you're applying. And if you fall in the 25th percentile, then I wouldn't advise you to like send your score. I would advise you to go test optional, or I would just advise you to get about 1500. Like if you're applying, for example, I think it was for like let's say Stanford. I think their 25th percentile is 1510. So if you want to stand out, you want to be in, I mean, 25th percentile is 1510. So if you want to stand out, you need to be in 50th or 75th percentile, which
Mhm.
is above 1500, above 1510.
Yeah. But uh, there are students who get into top schools having SAT
Yeah.
1480, right? Or even
Yeah.
1450, maybe even lower scores. When you think of SAT, you shouldn't think in terms of like what is like good enough or not good enough, right? Because like you can
Mm.
easily go and check on the website how like
Yeah.
how many people have what kind of score when they got in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the point of the SAT is to maximize your admissions chances. So do your best
Yeah.
shot, aim as high as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean you this this is just something that you need to have, right? And
Mm-hmm.
as a really good advice, right? Just score more than 1500
Yeah.
and you're safe. And
Yeah.
you're done with it.
Yeah. And I really agree with you, Valeria. Like, SAT is there to maximize your admissions chances because somewhere I read an article, I think it was about Columbia, when they
Mhm.
were test optional. I think the acceptance rate for students was this for the students who submitted their scores was like 6%, and for the students who went test optional, it was like 3%. So it was like if you submit your SAT score, you almost like double your acceptance rate.
True. Uh, because
Yeah.
yeah, that is a direct indicator of a not only your academic ability once you're in college, but also there was a lot like a longitudinal oh my God, let me pronounce it right. Longitudinal. Oh my God, longitudinal. Oh my God. How do we say it? Why can't I pronounce it?
Longitudinal. Is it?
Yes, thank you. Study that College Board did regarding the SAT, right? They basically
Yeah.
measured and tracked over the years the performance on the SAT test and the
Hmm.
so-called career success, like 10 years after that was the SAT was taken, and there was a direct correlation between, like the
Higher
score
score.
and the success of career and like the success beyond college, basically, right?
Yeah.
So SAT
Mhm.
doesn't measure just your academic ability. It's not just
Mhm.
a score, right? It
Yeah.
gives important evidence to colleges to make their decisions on, right? And if you really want to learn about, what the SAT is like, I highly recommend you go to the College Board and find some more research papers. Like they publish it on their website to understand
Yeah.
how colleges are actually using this and what they're thinking about when they see your score. Um, yeah, and rec letters. I think last question about rec letters because important element we haven't covered it. Whom did you get your recommendation letters from, and what did they highlight about you?
So I got my rec letters from so I got it this year during my senior year, 12th grade. I got it from my teachers who taught me during my junior year, so 11th grade.
Mhm.
I got it from when I was getting my recommendation letters, I was kind of strategic because I know most of the colleges want to see that you get your recommendation letters from your core teachers. So I got it from my English teacher and my math teacher. And and my counselor also needed to submit some kind of evaluation, I think, and I also got it from her. And for each of my recommendation letter people, I wrote 3 pages of brag sheets to help them write more about me because they only knew me for a year.
Mhm.
But all of them, especially my counselor, knew that I'm very high achiever. Um, and because like in my school, average SAT score is like 1260 or something. But every time I took SAT, I was like telling, oh, I got the score, I got the score. And she was like, oh, I know, you will get the score. Like she knew that I was very like high achiever, and my English and math teacher also knew me outside of school. Like my math teacher actually went to Kyrgyzstan as an English language instructor for a year. So he knew some of the Uzbek words, like he could count till five, or he
Hmm.
could say Assalamu alaikum, which is pretty hard to say.
Hmm.
So I really connected with my math teacher and my English teacher as well, because I used to talk with her about my concerns, saying, "Oh, even though I learned English for so many years, I'm still anxious about this class, about English, because everything is in English. Like I'm a little anxious." But she really helped me a lot. And then in my back sheets, I explained my experiences with them. I wrote reflections of how I experienced their classes during my junior year, and I think my recommendations were very genuine and very high level. Like I didn't get to read them, but I actually wanna ask them to send me their
Hmm.
recommendation letters if it's
Yeah, it
possible.
would be interesting to read. Yeah. So now, I guess it's time to wrap up. We've been live for quite the time.
Hmm.
So it was a conversation with Medina, who just got into University of Pennsylvania, right? Her profile highlighted extended community service and community impact initiatives, right? Most of her activities she built over her ninth grade and beginning of 10th grade, right? And I assume we haven't specifically highlighted that but I assume the programs that you took, international ones, you took them throughout 10th grade, right?
Yes.
After you
Yeah.
build your core activities.
Yes.
Mhm.
Ninth grade, 10th grade, and 11th as well.
Yeah. All right. And then basically your senior year right now, you've been working on your applications on essays. Um, right. We're done for this event. Medina, thank you for sharing your experience and for answering all of the questions. It was a great pleasure learning from you and hosting the event with you. The audience, thank you for the many questions you shared. Yeah, and hoping to see you further in our upcoming events. The next one is going to be, by the way, with Medina's sister, Gulnoza,
Oh,
who is,
okay.
yes, who is in due class of 2029. So stay
Mhm.
tuned. Yeah. Um, Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining, and thank you for organizing, Valeria.